Hello, lovelies. Welcome to Narc Free Formula. My name is Freedom. Thank you for joining me. Today's episode is all about the narcissist recycling the ex. However, before I start, can I remind you, if you like my videos, to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also remember to hit the bell icon so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. Okay, so let's get down to it. I'm going to talk about this particular subject in from two angles. So, one, we're going to talk about you as the person involved with a narcissist, and their relationship with their exes, and then I'm going to then talk about if you are currently the ex of a narcissist. And I'm also going to talk about how to avoid being recycled. All right, so getting back to it. Narcissists. I've got some notes here, so if I'm looking down, that's what I'm doing. So narcissists, this is if it's you're with a narcissist, and there's their ex is involved. So with narcissists, you've got to remember they don't view relationships or situationships like the rest of us do. They view people as property. So therefore, he or she, but for now I'm just referring to him as he or she believes that they own their previous partners. So if they have an ex, best believe they think they own that person. They will be keeping an eye on them. They will be watching their social media. They will be keeping on top of the situation because narcs are known for recycling the ex. There's a few different reasons why they do it. But if you're in the situation, as I said, where you're still with the narc, and you're having problems with the ex, just remember, depending on time frames, of course, but for example, just say you've been with the narcissist, in a situationship with the narcissist for 3 years, right? And his ex, they were together for 12 years. You need to understand time is not a construct that affects narcissists the way it affects us non-disordered folk. So in his mind, he's having, he still has a very real relationship with the ex, even though they're not together, even though they are separated, even though he has started something up with you. That doesn't mean that he doesn't think of her as his property, because he does, and he always will. He will use her to triangulate you. He will, and there's lots of different ways that he will do it. If you're having problems in your relationship with the ex, it's usually because of triangulation. Most people can be quite adult when they break up with people, especially if there's children involved. If a narcissist is involved, though, it will be like a freak show or a circus. So if there's any kind of that going on, those kind of crazy, dysfunctional, you're hearing about his ex and that she's so crazy, or that, she's still in love with him is a good one. They usually say that about the ex. All that kind of thing, right? That screams narcissism. So they use the ex for triangulation, and they also, keep an narc harem. So they'll keep backup supply, because that's all this is really about, is ensuring there is no breakdown in their supply of fuel. So essentially, if you imagine them as though they are addicted, let's just say they're drug addicted. So if you can imagine, what it's like, and if you had to rely on something to survive and you needed it daily, you wouldn't just have one fuel source. So you wouldn't just have one provider of whatever it is that you needed to survive. You would ensure that you had backup, that you had multiple sources of supply. So multiple people that you could go to get whatever it is that you needed to survive. And that's the way the narcissist views their exes and fuel. So if you are the ex, realize and remember that just like when it all turned to shit with you and he, When it turns to shit with he and her, so the new supply, he will try and come back, unless he's got other secondary fuel sources lined up, ready to go. That's the key phrase, ready to go. Because what he's looking for is not something you can just, it doesn't just kind of happen. It's narcissists work. They groom. They work on their fuel sources. They groom them. They create relationships. They create a situation where they literally will work on a person until they get them in the position that they want them in. And when they're at that stage, when they're primed and ready to be primary supply, only then will the narcissist jump ship. So in the interim, so if things turn to shit with the new supply, in the interim, a narcissist won't think twice about doubling back, doing the recycling the X. Will not think twice about it because it is so convenient. They know you in and out. They know exactly what to say to you. It is going to take sweet bugger all, effort-wise, to get you back on the hook, especially if they triangulated you well with the new supply. So if they made you jealous, if they made you insecure, if they made you miss them and that kind of thing, that's exactly the kind of priming they do to ensure that when they do decide to return, that you will accept them with open arms. But remember, if that was to occur and you did actually take him back, what you need to remember is this is just a temporary pit stop. This is not a long-term thing. This is not him, realizing how much he loves you and, whatever else. This is just pure convenience. This is usury at its very best. The pipeline is still open. So he just comes back, gets his fuel, fuels himself, tells you what you want to hear, then keeps sourcing new supply. Because new supply is always going to be better than old supply. So the new supply, the difference between being new supply and just supply, that's just a matter of time and how long it takes for a person to figure him out. Once a person's figured him out, then they just become supply and they need to be replaced. The new supply is what's so intoxicating for a narcissist, because it's all that potential and promise. So in the newness of it all, it's like having an unknown, unquantified adventure. It could be so awesome, but it might not be, but you don't know. And that's the excitement of it, right? So they'll always seek out new supply. They love the thrill of the chase. It makes them feel so valued and so much more important than they really are. All right. Let me just quickly check my notes. So with Recycling the X, they will have to re-idealize you. So when they want to come back, they're not going to come back and say, I'm sorry, babe, I was so wrong, blah, blah, blah. They're not going to do that. What they're going to do is they're going to put you back up on a pedestal and they're going to say, my God, you've always been the woman for me. You are amazing. I have just had this epiphany about you and we were meant to be. They're going to tell you exactly what you want to hear. Make no mistake about that. But the thing is, like I said, just as he re-idealizes you, just like he did the first time around, he will then go through the devaluation and discard phases. As night follows day, this is narcissistic patterns. This is the programming of their disorder. This is what they do. It is not avoidable. It is not something that, you don't, it's not a matter of, second time round, what is it? Second time lucky or whatever that stupid saying is. It's not a case of that. It's a case of if you take him back, he will put you through the same thing again and take more of what, is yours. So whatever got left on the table last time around, he'll come back and take that. So he'll take more, he'll use you all over again, and he'll inevitably discard you again. So don't even think about doing that to yourself, darlings. So just quickly, so how to avoid being recycled. So obviously no one wants that, right? No one wants to be put through that. But the problem is that with the narcissist, they are like toddlers. They are so in the moment. They get so excited. They love new shiny things. They love, they get so into their own acting. They create this mood and this momentum, and it's so easy to get swept up in it. The whole, yes, we are soulmates, and, we are twin flames, and that was part of our journey. And do you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. So they're going to tell you what you want to hear, and you will get swept along with their enthusiasm, because at the time, as they're saying it to you, they mean it on some level. Like they do. They get caught up in their own emotions. They're very, like I said, they're like toddlers, really. But they're not well. They're disordered. They're not mentally well. They're not emotionally stable. Their patterning and programs will play out. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. Okay, so to avoid this, you need to stay no contact. Okay, it's really, really important, because if you don't stay no contact, if you leave the back door open for him just a little bit, he will use it. Okay? Remember, signs and signals, they're always watching what you're doing. They're looking, scanning the environment for signs and signals. So this is a sign. Stay no contact. As soon as you open the door for him, he will use it. Okay? And if, for example, just say you slip up with the no contact, all right, that's fine. You've slipped up, but get back on the wagon the very next day, because otherwise all you're doing is Narc 2.0. You'll do the same thing all over again to yourself and have the same outcome. And if it was painful the first time, can you even begin to imagine how much more painful it's going to be the second time over? And they're renowned for it. This is the other thing. They are renowned for it, because it's so much easier to go back to an ex than to try and source new supply, especially when they're having, their down moments. So when they've gone off, for example, with a new supply, the grass was greener and they were like, yeah, fuck you. I'm so in love. This is so great. And then it all turns to shit. Now, how embarrassing for them for a start. Their humility, like their pride takes a huge blow. So when they're feeling that weakened and vulnerable state, it's so much easier for them, like I said, just to go back to what they know, i.e. you. Go back to what was comforting to them, i.e. you. Don't do that to yourself, sweetheart. Don't be anyone's pit stop, all right? I'm running out of battery, so I'm going to have to finish up. All right, lovelies, listen, get nut free, stay nut free. Thank you for watching, and remember to share the video. Thanks, darlings. Bye.